This is BNG TV.
Now it is time. Get down to some picks.
Yes.
Listen to you.
I'm fired up.
Hey, look, the other one dropped. All right, now let's start with you, Halleck. You're one spot above Bentley and his picks in the standings.
Yeah.
So it's good that
It's
you
not
got
saying a lot.
You got Ray bringing up dead last. So you are there one spot above him. Let's start with the obvious one, Michigan, Indiana. Michigan a 10.5 point favorite. What do you think?
I think Michigan covers. I think it's a 35-14 type game. I think they're going to do just fine. And I think you look for them to run the ball a little bit more and maybe a little less on the Robinson train. I think that I think they're going to come out with their backs and they're going to play some Big Ten football. They're still certainly going to do their spread gig, but I look at them at running that football quite a bit.
Brett Bakita right ahead of him in the standings. A solid third.
I see how you're laying this out. I'm going Michigan 34, Indiana 20. End of the day, too many athletes for the Hoosiers to handle, especially on the defensive side of the football.
Joe Arent been putting in work. Good enough for second place. What's your pick?
Oh, yeah, I think Michigan's going to give up some points, but it's going to be 38-28 U of M.
I think Michigan's defense shows up better than people think. Too many people judging this team on that Massachusetts game. I think that one's an aberration. I'm taking Michigan. Big. To cover.
Well, and quite frankly, in that game, those guys do very well a lot of what hurt Michigan. I don't think Indiana's the same team, and I don't think they do the same things well.
All right, moving on to your Sparties. Michigan State, a 2-point dog. We had that line wrong earlier.
Yes.
Uncle Buck let us down.
Come on, Uncle.
And what do you got? Big game against Wisconsin. Badgers come to East Lansing.
Yeah, I just go back and forth on this. You know, this particular week, I feel like Bakita, where I don't know what I'm going to say right now.
Sorry about that.
It's tough with these guys. I'm going to be rooting like crazy for Sparty, but something about this Wisconsin team just drives me nuts. They're figuring out ways to win ball games. It's almost in their blood. But in my mind, I'm going up with a little mini upset. I think Sparty's going to do it at home. They're going to do it close, and they're going to win, I'll call it 24-17.
Brett Bakita.
Spoken like a true former Spartan there, Ty. I can't go with you, buddy. I got to go with the big red machine rolling in from Madison. It's going to be a good ball game. It's going to come down to a key turnover, and I think in the end, Wisconsin will create that turnover by getting to Kirk Cousins. Michigan State will still have problems getting to Tolzien. He will make the play. Wisconsin wins by 3, 27-24.
Yosef.
Wow, that's way too close of a prediction for mine. 28-24, Badgers get it done.
Bill Simonson called Wisconsin overrated. That put me over the top on the Badgers. This Wisconsin team, I think this game comes down to a trench war. It's going to be a heavyweight fight. And you'd be hard-pressed to find a team that I think is better in the trenches than Wisconsin is. They just crank out linemen. Defensive, offensive.
I look at this as a very much a stamp statement on Treadwell and his offense. I don't think they can afford to sit there and try to grind it out. They got to figure out ways to run the ball out of some spread sets and take advantage of their best player, and now's the week to do it.
I agree with that. I hope that happens. Trust me, I'll be there. I hope it happens.
All right, now, we just found out before we went on the air here that you are actually going to make the trip to Wisconsin.
Yes. Mr. Don Finelli, Pat Rollins, Brian Hubble, and myself are making a trek over Sunday morning. Going to go see my old teammate, Edgar Bennett. That was back in his dark days. He's now the running back coach at Green Bay, but he did play for the Chicago Bears for a little bit of time. Great guy. So excited to get over there. Hopefully maybe shake hands with Frank and say hello and thank him for the interview. So
that's one of my bucket list trips. I want to go to Lambeau.
Well, for me, I've played there. I never have sat in the stands and watched. And I know my folks and some other people who have gone to those games have said it's an amazing place. And so I'm pumped. I'm excited about it. It'll be a good time, and we'll enjoy it.
That said, your prediction?
Yeah. Well, we'll enjoy the trip.
All the nice stuff about there, Ty. But what's the
some
real
good
prediction?
guys? Easy in, easy out.
Here's the good time.
I say
that's an example of where you tailgate and don't go to the game.
Yeah, I got a whole deal on that with you guys. I need some more time. Green Bay wins this game. Detroit's got too many injuries. My hope and prayer is, though, as we continue to see the effort and the energy brought by a guy like Kyle Vandenbosch. I keep repeating the same thing. So long as we see that, I'm going to be happy. But hopefully this isn't a blowout. But I do see them. They're going to be a 2-touchdown dog in this deal. I see a 31-17 type win for the Green Bay Packers.
So you've got them covering. That becomes the only question I think this week isn't whether or not Green Bay wins. It's whether or not Green Bay covers.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be for the Lions? How about the Lions? Creating a little fray that way. To me, that's a step in progress, is it not?
We're 0-4, but against the spread, we're 2-2.
Hey, it's baby steps, guys. Baby steps.
He's got a point.
35-17. Green Bay wins. Lions don't cover.
Joseph.
Wow, Aaron Rodgers is going to have a field day with this secondary. It's going to be 35-10, Green Bay.
I just love the
Why
way
do you laugh at everything I say?
Because it's laughable.
Okay, spoken from person behind me.
Just film, will you?
Green Bay wins, they don't cover. I think Detroit's got a burr under their saddle, and we talked to Coach Schwartz. We'll replay that for you at 8:25 coming up here in a second with the Keller Ford Lions report. And they've got different guys in this locker room who now are getting a taste of what it's like to inherit that legacy. Ndamukong Suh, Kyle Vanden Bosch, guys that are not going to let that sit well. Javid Best is another one. You see that with rookies. We see it with the Lions all the time. Like, wait a minute, what are you talking about 18 years? I got here 6 months ago. I'm not to blame for that. I think they make it a little closer than people expect. I think they come out and they play a little bit of a tough-nosed football, but at the end of the day, it's too much Aaron Rodgers. Too much Aaron Rodgers and too much of that 3-4 defense featuring quarterback murderers like Zombo and Matthews and A.J. Hawk and KGB and on and on and on.
What's your score?
You know what? I'm going to stick with they don't cover. Call it, 20-10. 30-20. Give me 10 points.
You just said too much Aaron Rodgers and you're going 20-10.
You do giggle too much.
There's a lot of yards between the end zones, by the way. It doesn't mean if they're kicking field goals,
right,
brother. I mean,
yeah, I don't see that blowout that Vegas sees. 14.5 points in a pro game. Outrageous.
Yeah, my thing with the Lions is they're an easy team to jump on. They haven't figured out a way to win a football game yet. I certainly don't see it in Green Bay. But I do agree. You're tapping into something I think is extremely important, which is I think there's at least a foundation of guys there now. It's one thing to be at the bottom and be working your way through it and know that you're working your way up, and it's another thing to believe you are the bottom. I think they've gotten rid of most of those guys, and they got a locker room that at least is willing to fight, kick, scratch, do whatever is necessary to put themselves in position to at least have a chance to win. Unfortunately, I don't think it's this particular weekend, but I'll take that as another step moving forward, and I just think that's a bigger difference. Again, I'm not drinking any crazy Kool-Aid or some of this stuff, and I'm not getting on the Schwartz bashing deal either. I still think you can only make so many moves and do so many things. And even last week before halftime, I think his sole deal now is let's not do anything stupid to do. Everyone wants to say, "Oh, go throw it for the touchdown." Well, you got Jason Hansen's one of the all-time great kickers. Get the 3 points, go into half feeling good about yourself. Come back out and battle the second half. That's the team he has right now. It's not a year or two down the road yet, and he's got to coach a little bit differently. So I'm not happy that they're don't have a win, but again, remember in my record book they still have one, and they got it in Chicago. So I definitely think the fabric's there. We just got to get healthy, because the one thing is, as you see, you can build that foundation, but if you only got just that immediate layer, you need some backups that are able to come in and at least fulfill. They just aren't quite there yet.
So saith the Tie. That concludes Tie's Take. It's brought to you by the Twisted Rooster.
Yeah, and don't forget, we're going to be out for the Michigan State game at the Twisted Rooster. You got to check it out. Simply impeccable food and drinks. They kind of mix things up. Classic American fare with a twist. And it's right there on East Beltline, the old Charlie's. We'll be out there bright and early. 2:30 for that 3:30 kickoff a week from this Saturday.
All right, Ty, as always, thanks for taking the time. Enjoy the trip to Wisconsin.
Enjoy your trip just north of Lansing, you deer slayer. You.
Yeah. That here's the hoping. I got buddies of mine that are hitting me up on text. Like, gotta send you a picture real quick. I'm like,
based on your text you sent me last week, I'm not worried about them seeing you.
Hey,
anybody that's a friend of mine.
by the way, maybe we'll have a celebrity category for our Alan Bob's Big Buck contest. If you get a deer, send that in. We'll put that up.
Oh yeah, I'm all over that now. I'd love to get on the Ellen Bob's deal here. I got news for you, and just a little pride in the house. I would like to do it before Michael. That's just me.
Oh, a little in-show competition.
Can't take the competitor out of Ty Halleck.
Nikita and Gray, morning 6 to 9.